I was sent this post from the 2X chromosome subreddit, and she's in her 20s. And I think that this is something very valid for us to talk about in our community. So she says, when I talk to women who are in their 60s and up, I realize that for many young women and young girls, we're the first generation to have freedoms that they didn't have. I, 22-year-old woman, work in retail. And one day I asked this woman who looked like she was around 70, if you were in your 20s, what would you do differently? She said to me, I loved my husband. He was a great man, but I wouldn't have married him. Back in my day, when I was your age, we were told to marry young because we didn't have the freedoms that younger women have today. Because of that, I tended to him always and the children, never myself. If I could tell women one thing, I would say focus on you in your 20s and maybe wait to marry. After she told me that, I recognized that for many millennial and Gen Z women, we are the first generation who were able to have our own careers, attend university, have homes, etc. I always hear older women tell women in their early 20s not to marry and have children. And I used to think it came from a place of bitterness, but it's coming from a place of not having the liberation to reject the norms and doing something because that's what you do. She says, edit. Women who are Gen X, it was not my intention to exclude you guys. You guys give good wisdom as well. I'll rephrase and say the last few generations of women are the first to have freedom that women once didn't have. Now, this edit part is what really kind of irked my spirit because you can read this today. She's in her 20s. She doesn't know any better. And it sounded like she just wanted to have a conversation. But the older ladies, like my generation of ladies, kind of attacked her because yes, like literally, I am 44 years old. I'll be 45 next month. And I get what she's saying, but my generation, yes, I was born in 1980. I had all of the freedoms that feminists fought for. And as I was reading this, I was like, yes, a 20-something woman understands I am here for it. And she also understands the bottom part right here where she's talking about she used to think it was bitterness. No, this is the point that men used to make it that older women, when older women talked, we were just supposed to imagine that they were bitter and jealous of younger women. So she's understanding it. But let me get to what I'm talking about in these comments to where I needed to do this tonight. And I want y'all to go over there and find this post and support this young lady. Before I get into the other comments, this is what I said to her in the comments. I'm 44, almost 45. I was born having rights and I'm a fierce feminist. I talk to women all the time and I implore young women, young ladies, not to give their 20s to men or live with them. They'll suck you dry like a vampire. So that's what I said. So let's look at some of these other comments. Samantha's grandma says, I'm 60-ish. I was fighting for what my daughter takes for granted. I couldn't be happier that she's a spirited fireball who makes her own decisions. It was worth it. Raise a Thought says, it is so important to not begrudge the young their unnoticed blessings. That is the goal. We don't want hardships, not created ones anyway. Life will always bring challenges sooner or later to a majority of us. Throwaway Cab G, or maybe Throwaway Cabbage, says, knowing how the previous generation struggled for our basic rights shows how recently they were won and how easily they can be and are being lost unless we fight as hard as those previous generations did to keep those rights and what they endured without those rights. The picture of a woman who died in a motel due to a botched termination will always stay with me. Eclectic Syrup says, this is my take as well. Forgetting that there was a time where those things didn't exist and knowing that they could, again, be taken away is very important. Baroness Lucy says, I'm 63 years old. So when I was 11 years old, Roe was decided. As I got a little older in my teens, I heard a lot of stories from women in my mother's generation who didn't have access to birth control and legal terminations. When I was 18 years old in 1980, I could decide whether or not I wanted to go to college, whether or not I wanted to marry, or whether or not I wanted to have children, or what my path in life would be. This was something that my mother had severe limitations on, as she was strongly discouraged from going to a regular college and no doubt would have been discouraged from being a business major, which was quite common for women in college in the 80s. Like women of post-World War II period, my mother and her peers were encouraged to get married young and have lots of children. I know that my mom, if given the choice, would have gone to a regular college, would have been a business major, had a career, would have married much later than 19 years old. My mother's first marriage ended in divorce. She later married in 1958 and had my brother in 1959. Typical of the time period, she was basically the last person in her friend group to have children. Most of them had their first child in their early 20s. She was 29 years old when my brother was born, and that was considered to be an older first-time mother. She had talked about taking some business classes at the college she worked at, but she never did. At the time, she would have gotten it for free, but she didn't take advantage of it. She couldn't understand why women in my age group who were given the opportunity to go to college didn't jump at that opportunity and the chance to do so. I guess when you're denied opportunities, you can't understand why others wouldn't jump at what they were denied. This comment right here, so passive aggressive and condescending. Wendy Starr says, as a Gen X woman, I love being excluded. And then the OP says, I'm sorry again, I posted in my edit, my mistake. And then 10 provinces away says, the point is we are always forgotten. We are the generation who lived under complete boomer control. And now, after eking out whatever we could from that homogeny, ask yourself who created DEI programs. You all act like we don't exist. She's like, I apologize. I'm sorry. And so this is the thing. It's like, is there not a better way to have conversations with women? It's like this woman, this young lady was not being an a-hole or anything. She's just having a conversation. And the way these women are kind of irritated with her just irks my spirit. So as I was reading through the post, I see these other ladies piling on. I say, hey, hun, I'm a Black woman as well. I read your post and understood you immediately. I have a YouTube page with nearly 86,000 people. We're a welcoming community. I'm going to use your post and make a video on this. My community has young and old over there. We talk about this stuff. Folks over there won't be this overly sensitive. And she's like, yeah, I feel like some of these comments are attacking me when I made them in good faith. And then I was like, I'm going to reach out to you. I'm going to drop you this link because I really want us to go over there and support this young lady. Because some of these, and I actually do, I'm gonna put the link in the comment section. Please go over there and support this young lady because I don't like how some of these women were talking to her. And I'm feeling like a mama bear to this young lady that I don't even know. So I already did this comment from Samantha's grandma, but to that, the young lady says, yes, it is. I graduated college recently and my grandma supported me financially and said, baby, I just want you to graduate and do the things I couldn't. And I am totally sure that many of us had grandmas, mamas, grannies that said the same thing. As she said that, I'm like, I could feel both of my grandmother's spirit and how happy they were that I graduated because both of them were there to see me graduate undergrad. And it definitely made me feel very proud to have both of my grandmas there because one of my grandmothers was born in 1929 and my other was born in 1937. She was a college grad. So both of my grandmothers were very proud of me. This lady, Amarilis, says, the year my father graduated high school was the year the ECOA passed, the Equal Credit Opportunity Act passed, and women could legally get a credit card without the approval of a male cosigner. The year my mother graduated high school was the year before Columbia University opened its doors to women and went co-ed. The year my older brother was born was the year before marital rape became illegal nationwide. I'm not that old. I'm 27, so I'm part of Gen Z. I'm distinctly aware that I was born with rights so many women alive today didn't have. And I'm pissed those rights are being taken away. And then the OP says, yes, yes, I'm a Black woman. My grandma had limited opportunities because she was Black and a woman. That's where the intersection of all of this comes in. This country was built on racism and sexism, and it is so important for us to know the history. All right, y'all, please go support this young lady for me.